Hello my lovelies and welcome back to my channel. Today is day 2 of our Linds Handmade Christy Crossbody sew along. Today we'll be doing all the prep work and then we'll be creating the exterior slip pocket. So I left everything the way I photographed them yesterday because I want to start by marking the centers of the pattern pieces, because that will help me a lot in the next steps. So let's start with the main, and the center and the handles must be marked on the main part. And that's pretty easy to do because the center is where you glue the two pattern pieces together. I love that this pattern doesn't have anything cut on fold. And then the handles. Okay, this one I can see that. This is the one of those pens from Mormino. Very nice. I like them a lot. Just be careful not to rub your elbows or your hands on them because they will rub on your hands. Okay, so center, handles. Okay, center and handles are done. We can set that aside. Next, we want the lining, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to mark the center of the lining. Okay, that is done. Any other centers? I think I do need the center of this accent. Beautiful. Next, I don't need those. You need your facing. Remember, we had a facing pattern that did not have that had this rectangle inside. So what we're going to do right now is just draw the inside rectangle on the facing. So what I like to do, I like to put a few dots and then just use my ruler to add the actual lines so they're straight. If you want to mark your seam allowance on the back of your pattern pieces, you can do that as well. The pattern follows a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. So this is your facing. Set that aside for now. We'll work on that tomorrow, along with the zipper pocket. So we can put those aside. And I think I'm going to do this project a combination of industrial and semi-industrial, because the water resistant on interface is sewn a lot better on the semi-industrial or a domestic machine versus the industrial that needs a thicker base. So you'll see me moving from machine to machine. Again, like I said yesterday, if you have just domestic, it's absolutely fine. You don't need to worry about investing in many machines. All right, so this is done. Next, we're going to do the prep work on the connector. So for that, I'm going to run a line down the center and then add a 1/4 inch double-sided tape. As you can see, I'm ready for the battle. I have all 3 sizes here for prep work. peeling this off, and I'm bringing the sides towards the center that I just drew. Okay, I'm going to cut this in half because again we need two connectors. Okay, so now you have two connectors. Grab your D-ring. Place your connector through it. I did grab some of these cute clips from Mormino. I couldn't not do it. They're rainbow after all. And it looks like my pen slipped through, so be careful of that. I've never seen this before. And some rainbow D-rings. Fold it in half and set it aside. We'll be stitching that at the machine. Okay, so this prep is done. Up next we need to prep the handles. Okay, so let's work on the handles. I'm going to grab my two handles and I'm going to find the center and mark it. Okay, and then I'm going to take two strips of double-sided tape that are 6 inches each and lay them right there centered. There you go. Might need to do 1/2 inch. We'll see if this one holds. Yeah, I will add another 1/4 inch. You might be better off just doing 1/2 inch double-sided tape. And just fold it in place to create that rolled handle. And you want to make sure the rolled part is 6 inches centered. Obviously we'll stitch this part, but for now I'll just press it and we'll stitch it when we stitch everything. Again, double checking that it's centered. This is my center. And I'm going to stitch from this point to this point. Okay, so I marked my points for stitching with these two clips. And same thing on the other side. Such an easy way to create like a rolled handle. And let me double check the center. So this is my center. And this is where I'll start stitching, and this is where I'll stop stitching. See, these 2 points here, which marks 6 inches. So mark them however you want. You can put a clip or you can put a little dot. Okay. So that is done. We have those to take to the machine. Now we'll do the last prep and then we'll do the pocket. So for the webbing, either burn your ends or add a little zipper end, either a metal, or make yourself a leather or cork end if you're using cotton, or even if you're using polyester. So just don't leave them raw or unburned. So take your slider, slide it up, slide it down, then you want to take one of your swivel clip. Again, everything that I'm using hardware wise and zipper tape is from Wizardry Stitchery Crafts. You can find them on the website. This is the 1-inch rainbow hardware. And then you go up, down, again on the same side. So if you went up from the left, go up from the left on the inside as well. This way you won't see this raw edge. Because if you go on the other side, you'll see the raw edge here, and you don't want that. So here you can do a little stitch, or you can put some rivets. I'll do a stitch. For now, I just put a clip, and then on the other side, you're going to make sure that the strap is not twisted, and you're going to take your swivel clasp. I do like that they're protected, but man, I don't like taking this off. Okay. Oh, so pretty. You're going to take this and slide it in, and again, for this you can either use some rivets or you can stitch it in place, whatever you like. I prepped it for stitching. Okay, another pile here, and for the pocket, you're going to place these right sides together, your lining and your main of the pocket, and you're going to stitch this with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance at the top and at the bottom, leaving the sides open. So I'm going to move to the semi-industrial machine, and we're going to take care of all the stitching, and that is actually the last part we're going to do today. Alright, we are at the sewing machine. So I'm going to start by stitching everything that we've pinned before, and then we'll do the pocket, and that is it for today. For this part I am using Tex 45 unicorn mane, because that's what I always have in my semi-industrial. I use this mainly for making blankets, like plush blankets or minky blankets, and most of my blankets have a lot of color on them, so this doesn't really leave the machine. I have unicorn mane in both the bobbin and the needle, and we are ready to get started. So I'm going to start by sewing the handle. Place your needle where you've put that marking, and we're going to stitch with an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, so as close to the edge as you can get it. Oops, my stitch it pretty long because it's for the blanket. I stitch my blankets with like a 4. I don't need a 4 for the bag. So we're going to stitch in between those 2 markings that we've made for the handle to create that beautiful rolled edge. And we're going to backstitch at the beginning and at the end. See how pretty that is? Gorgeous. One handle down. As you can see, webbing goes great in the semi-industrial. The only reason I think I'll use my industrial is to sew the final assembly and when I create the part that uses the glitter vinyl, just because it makes my life easier. But if you don't have one, again, it's fine, totally fine. Okay, handles are done. Let's do those connectors. So I'm going to try to stitch as close as I can get it in the connector. This is a 1/4 inch foot. If you have an 1/8 of an inch foot, it would be even better. I don't have one for this machine, so it will have to be a 1/4 of an inch away, but it's okay. Maybe a little smaller stitch. The closest you'll get it to the bar here, the less chances of it rolling it, unless you have one of these amazing bars from Wizardry that has this D-rings that has this bar here, so it won't roll. See? And here you can continue doing stitches, or you can do an X, or this will go in the seam allowance. So honestly, additional stitches around are not really necessary. You can also put a rivet if you want. It's up to you. And same thing on the other side. Again, as close as I can get it with my foot. And back stitch. Yeah, this is definitely a little better with the smaller stitch length. So this is what it looks like. Okay, let's set those two aside. We have the strap. So I'm just going to do a stitch again close to the edge, and that is it. Again, you can add rivets if you want. You don't have to stitch it. I don't know if I have rainbow rivets. I might have run out of rainbow rivets, so I'll have to double check. But for now, that's where I'm stitching it. And here again you can have a nice zipper strap end. Wizardry does offer some pretty ones. Okay, and last one here. Be careful because you have the slider, so you don't want to stitch too close and hit the slider with your needle. Okay, so that is done. All the prep work is done. So you should have your handles, your connector, and your strap done. Crossbody strap. And now we're going to focus on the pocket. We're going to stitch with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance along the two long edges. Right sides together. So this is one, and same thing on the bottom. So you should have something that looks like this. You want to turn it right side out. And this is where we're going to create that faux piping look. And that's why I went with the yellow instead of two of the same like designs. Whatever these are. They look like boom, boom, I don't know. Or planets, I don't know. It's a pretty coordinate. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to take the seam allowance and do a little finger press up. So you can see in here, I put the seam allowance up, and you can take it to the machine and press it, or I'll just do a few clips. So instead of folding this as you normally would, wrong sides together and pressing, I just roll it a little bit up 3/8 of an inch and put my seam allowance up. This way it has that beautiful piping effect at the top. The weights of my water resistant canvas are different, so it's trying to fight me on it. I will stitch it. If you're using just cotton woven, you might it might be enough to just give it a good press, but I will stitch in the ditch for now just to keep this together, because the waterproof canvas, the Oratex, is thicker and it's trying to fight me on the seam allowance going up, and I'm not letting it win. And same thing on the bottom here. Now you'll have the opposite on the inside, but this one is easier, it stays easier because it goes the way it wants. So you can give it a good press, you can stitch it. I will try my best to stitch in the ditch, but I might actually just do a row of stitch at the top, and because I'm using pretty string, pretty thread, I can just do it like decoration. Because the Oratex is really fighting me on this. I don't know yet. Might be enough to press it. Just be careful when you press your water resistant canvas, depending on what fabric it's made from. You might need to adjust your temperature on the iron, because some of them are polyester and they will melt. Look how cute this is. See? This is what it looks like from the inside. And here I'll just stitch, or actually let me just try and press it. Alright, I went ahead and gave this a good press on both sides, nice and crisp. I'm going to leave it at just stitched in the ditch there, because it looks really pretty. And now I'm going to find my center and just draw a line that will make my phone pocket. If you prefer not to have this, you can skip this step and just not have a phone pocket. So I'm using a friction pen so it disappears. I'm just drawing a line in the center, like so, and just set it aside. So this is it for today. You have completed your prep and your outer slip pocket. Go ahead and take a photo of your steps, completed steps for today, and place it in the day 2 photo comments of the Sew Along album. You can find the album in the Backstitch Backroom group on Facebook. And I'll see you back here tomorrow when we'll be doing the interior zipper pocket. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.